Well, now, everyone, welcome to another episode of Cubfidential. Hey, I'm not JB Ellis. I don't look like him, so I guess I'm QB2 tonight. But this guy right here to my right is the same. This is the one and only Mr. Brian McCray, and then downstairs, just joining in, Mr. Hot Bockins himself. Bockins, what's good with you, man? How you doing?
What's good? I'm all right, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all right, Mr. McCray. Once again, how you doing, man?
All good, all good. A couple losses for the Cubs going into a big homestand coming up, celebration of the 150 years of Cubs baseball. But they're still sitting in good shape there in the wild card to be the number one wild card seed, even though they've lost a little ground. But all is not lost.
No, all is not lost. You kind of figure when it's late, because what are we, about 5 weeks out from the end of the season? So we're about to really get into this last stretch here. Now, we're gonna go on to our first topic here. Before we do, though, everybody, you are watching us on a Sideline Sports and Entertainment Network. So if you are watching us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell for all updates and new episodes. Also, check out our site, sideline-sc.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and we'll be on TikTok as well. All right, so let's go on to our first topic here. So, following the crosstown rivalry, right? Which saw the Cubs win back-to-back walk-offs, and then the Sox shut out the Cubs, but hey, they still won the series, right? Then we rolled right into the Seattle series, in which even though Seattle's third in the American League West, they're still playing like they're a tough out. The Cubs dropped the series to them, but they avoid the sweep by hanging 19 runs on them in the third game. Bockins, what'd you see in this series, man?
Yeah, it's a series to me we should have won. Like, I mean, this should have been a sweep. Like, the bullpen blew it twice, and to kind of it's a tale of two series, really. This series, the Diamondback series, which we're going to get into later, in this series, really the bullpen cost us last night. So, like, 3 games just on this road trip, the bullpen kind of hurt us, which has been pretty stellar. Today we didn't get any runs, and then you just, man, it's just a struggle. You hit 10 home runs in that series against the Mariners, and you score that many runs in really all 3 games, enough to win. And unfortunately, you just didn't. You didn't come out of victory because the bullpen kind of let you down. Webb blows it in 1 game, and the kid they got, this Zephyr kid that we got from the Angels, I had high hopes for, because he's got swing and stuff missed, but man, it's hitting it. What he's finding is the barrel of the bats right now, and it's hurting our team.
Yeah, you kind of figure whenever you look at the scores. I mean, this should have been, for all intents and purposes, a series sweep. Mariners 1-run win in 10 innings. Mariners 1-run win. Cubs blowout win. Brian, what'd you see in this series, man? Did you think that the series more than got away from the Cubs?
Well, I think it could be a little letdown too after the hype of the crosstown series with the White Sox, and teams always have a little bit of trouble going from Central or East Coast to West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a little bit with it, but as Bach had said, the bullpen, which has been lights out, no matter what kind of combination Craig Counsell has thrown out there, they've shown some warts a little bit over the past week to 10 days. And that's something that we have to, monitor as we're getting into closer to the postseason. The starting pitching seems, for the most part, has been pretty solid. The bullpen, back end of the bullpen of late, has not thrown the ball and made pitches as well. Yesterday was kind of fluky with that check swing that hit off the bag down the line. There's some weird bounces, some weird things happen in that game. But you have to shore up the back end of the bullpen, and hopefully this stretch, what they're going through right now, is as bad as it's going to get, and they get it right and get guys in there that can get those last 6 outs of a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could talk. The offense, you figure the offense was there, right? We get into a little bit of the positives. I mean, it's 19-2. How about that? Hap and Ramirez both hit grand slams. You figure you kind of better win that game, right?
Yeah,
Um,
we'll talk about the offense and the home runs a little bit later. I think guys are swinging the bats, especially Bregman swinging the bat better in the second half. You're seeing some better approaches. You're seeing some guys up and down in the order getting some big hits. You're getting contributions sometimes nightly from the number one hitter and the number nine hitter and almost everybody in between. So offensively, I think they're in a pretty good spot. They feel good. To take away today's game where they got shut out and only had, I think, 2 hits. But offensively, they've been doing some really good things since the All-Star break.
yeah, absolutely. Botkins, would you agree that the Cubs offense is obviously like back or there, especially with Alex Bregman now as opposed to before All Star break?
Yeah, I apologize to Alex Bregman on the last podcast. Don't make me do it again, Denzel. All right, please. I said I'm sorry. Okay, I was wrong. I'm glad he's hitting well. All right. I mean, I was wrong. I apologize. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Yeah, I'm glad to see Bregman doing well. I think, Ramirez, I think, hit 2 grand slams in that 19 game. If I'm not mistaken, I know he hit at least 2 home runs. Ian Happ had a couple big hits as well. So the offense has been, outside of today, has been doing well. Like I always go to the adage: you score more than 3 runs in a baseball game, that's a game you should win. And unfortunately, last night and 2 of the Mariners series, that didn't happen. Even though we had enough, we should have, again, games that we probably should have won that we lost.
Yeah, no,
It's that time of the year. Like I wish, like I don't mind those losses more in April, May, but now is like September when you need to be hitting on all cylinders here and try to either catch the Brewers because there's only 35 games left, if that,
right.
and 7 of them are against the Brewers. So we need to be close to the Brewers if we're going to have a chance, even a thought to catch them, and then try to distance ourselves too in this wild card race. So I don't like that the bullpen having troubles this late into the season.
Yeah, that pitching definitely has to step it up. Now going on to our next series, and you figure with uh, with the Diamondbacks, bit of a tougher team, but I think it was a series that got away from the Cubs. So you start off hot, right? 7-0 shutout, boom. You set the tone, but then 1 run loss, 2 run loss, and shutout at that. Brian, what were your thoughts about this series?
Well, I thought the Diamondbacks coming off all the drama with their second baseman not showing up for a game in Boston, and if guys want him on the team or not want him on the team, he's suspended. When's he going to come back? Is he hurt or is it something personal? Thought this was the right time to catch a team that's got some internal things going on and beat up on them, but they found a way to stick around in games 2 and 3 and come back and win the series when they probably had no business. Their minds are elsewhere right now on that club. That's a club that's very divided clubhouse. A lot of things are not being said publicly, but you can sense from what's going on and what has gone on there with their second baseman over the last couple of years that guys are sick and tired of him and they just don't want him around.
Indeed. Which is crazy because he was
He's a good
he was
player,
one of
really, really,
yeah
really, really good player.
He,
Nobody doubts
he
that
was at the
he's not a good
casino. They
player.
said he was at the casino. They said he was at the casino.
Yeah, they had pictures of
Like
him, but
he was
he's on a
doing.
restricted list, so he can pretty much do whatever the hell he wants to do.
yeah
Him being at the
Yeah. They said
casino is
he was
not
at
the
rehab and
issue.
then went to the casino.
It's the
Yeah.
issue is he going to be welcome back to the team, and how is that clubhouse divided enough to try to get through the last 30 games of the season and try to make a playoff push with a guy that nobody wants around.
yeah. I always kind of had a feeling that Cattell Marte wasn't going to be a Diamondback that much longer. I,
You ever
I'm surprised the Mets didn't get him, but that's just me. But now, go ahead, Nick.
Brian, I was just going to ask you ever been in a situation like that on like where a guy that's it a little different, I think, in your age and in today's game, right? Like, I think it was pretty common, like guys who obviously go out still today have a good time, but like, you ever been in a situation where maybe guys didn't think a guy was buying into a team like this?
Well, there's times where you're around the guys from March till October. Guys get on your nerves, just like regular work coworkers. And the one thing that you want your teammates to do is put in effort, show up, be on time, those type of things. You can't all go in the right direction when you have guys that don't do that. And certain times during the year, you have guys that you got to get back on track. But it seems like it's been going on with him more over the last 2 or 3 years. You hear it. It's not just a one time thing.
Yeah, and now um, outside of like practice and the ball games and everything, you ever had that teammate that just kind of make? Because I remember you talked about how back then, like you all like you did things together. You know what I mean? Like you went out to eat together and everything. Have you ever had that one that kind of like outcasted himself? Like he didn't want to do nothing with the team off the
Yeah,
field.
you always have guys that are different, and you can't have a team of 25 to 30 guys that have the same mentality, the same interest, and all that. So there's always some friction between some guys at some points during the season. You just hope it doesn't manifest itself into something like this, where if I'm on the Diamondbacks, I don't want to see this guy around,
Hmm. Hmm.
no matter
I,
how good of a player he is.
yeah. And he was instrumental in them winning the pennant. What, like 3 years ago? That's what's so crazy. Looking at some highlights here in the series. Going to the shutout. So Conforto and Kelly had hit back-to-back home runs. Again, you kind of set the tone of the series. The bats woke up. It's not. Now it's funny how in the last series you had the offense, right? But then, where were the bats in Game 3? When it was time to close the series out, where were the bats in Game 3? Nick, what do you think happened in the 2-0 loss?
Yeah, today I watched most of that game. They just couldn't hit the ball. I mean, it's just good pitching, and I think anybody will tell you good pitching usually beats good hitting, and that's kind of what happened. There was a situation, a balk situation that would have tied the game 1-1. Maybe that changes things a little bit on how Greg manages the eighth and ninth there, but they didn't call it. So it was just an interesting series because also you had that today, and then game one, I think you had like the back and forth of the sign stealing situation where they were accusing us of like the third base coach, and they were kind of chipping, going back and forth, chipping at each other. So luckily, kind of cooler heads prevailed out of that situation, and you even saw the next day the Diamondbacks said, "Hey, we were in the wrong," so that was good. I shout out though Holmes and Gooseman, like the guys that we traded for. They pitched incredibly, and really Boyd did today. Gave up one solo home run, so like the pitching was there. The starting pitching today, this whole series pitched incredibly well. They said it's like the first time we had back to back where two of our starters went 7 innings in shutout baseball since like 2 years ago, damn near. So
Mm.
it's crazy. But so shout out to the two pitchers that Gooseman and Holmes, or Kevin Gossman. I said Gooseman, Gossman and Holmes. They pitched well, and Boyd did today. We just bullpen let the other two down, and today the bats just couldn't find the barrel today, and we lose 2-0 in a shutout. So it could have been 2-1 maybe.
Could have been. And then one game two, you know, the Diamondbacks down to their final out and give up a game winning 2 run jack. Brian, you can't let that happen, man. Well,
Well, but the thing about baseball is you're going to lose some games you shouldn't lose, and you're going to win some games that you shouldn't win. And it looks like this road trip was more of the latter, where they played well, just didn't play well enough to
mm-hmm.
finish out some ball games. and the bullpen giving up home runs late and getting beat late in tough situations is something that hopefully they can get out of their system and get home and
Yes.
have a big homestand over the weekend with the Reds coming in and bury the Reds.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But one more question before we go off, because the funny part about sports is, and just like you said, and shout out to our producer backstage, Adam. He was talking to me about the Steelers just last night. It's the crazy thing about sports. Every single season, it's like, just like you said, Brian. You're gonna win some games that you weren't supposed to win, so you figure you're kind of surprised, right? Like, oh shoot, we won, right? But you're gonna lose some games that you should have won. Like, okay, has there ever been a season or a few where you look back and you're like, man, we really left some money on the table?
All the time. But you also have to look back at the games that you won that you shouldn't have. And Tony Muser used to be the hitting coach with the Cubs when I was there, manager with the Royals for a little bit. He kind of explained it this way: there's about 60 games that you're going to beat somebody in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
There's about 60 games that the other team's going to beat you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 120 games there. You play 160. He goes, there's about 40 some odd games that are called swing games.
That's
And
a
if
great
you win those
analogy.
swing games more so than not,
Mhm.
then that's what gets you in the playoffs. And those are the swing games are the last two or the games, where the Diamondbacks come back and win late, things like that. That's a swing game.
The swing
So
game,
the
yeah.
Cubs have done a better job in
Hmm.
swing games, and that's why they're in the position that they're in right now. We're hitting a little, we hit a little stretch where they've lost some of those swing games, but we've seen them come back more so in games in the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning than give up games in the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning. And that's a sign of a team that should be around 20 games over 500, which the Cubs are right in that range, and look like a postseason team. So the swing games are what the Cubs, I think, this year have done a real good job at to put them in position that they're in right now.
Yeah, because you figure on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's like, well, I guess we wouldn't have gotten as close as we did if not for a few of the swing games and then the games that we should win. But we'll move
I,
on to our. Go ahead, Nick.
real quick, yeah, I was just gonna say I do feel like, to kind of piggyback off what Brian said. I do feel like, I don't know what it is. Like, I do know the Cubs have like 10 or more like walk off wins at Wrigley. Like so it does feel like we've won a lot of these closer games than we've lost, like in those swing games. And I do feel like, I always feel like there's always a stretch, right, where the bullpen just kind of, whatever reason, everybody in the bullpen just there's like a week or two stretch at some point in the season where everybody in the bullpen kind of stinks it up a little bit.
Hmm.
Hopefully that was this past week. We gave up, and then will rebound hopefully here against the Reds.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's go on to our next topic. That's a great segue. So, we have two critical upcoming series homestands. So we're returning back to the Midwest. So hosting Cincinnati and then hosting division leader Milwaukee. Now Cincy should not be taken lightly. I don't know if you all saw they had a 7-run ninth inning to win the game earlier against the Giants and had a grand slam kick that off. But Brian, I want to swing it to you. Your thoughts about these next two series and how critical they are at this stage in the season.
If the Cubs want any chance to win the division, they have to pretty much take either sweep the Brewers. They got to win both series, but they may have to mix in a sweep
Mm.
to win the division.
Huh. Okay. Okay. So just to be, let me go here. All right. So they got a 3 gamer against the Reds, and a
3 games
four.
against the Reds, win that series,
Uh huh.
and then win the Brewers series. But I think coming up with those games that they have next in the next 10 days or 12 days against the Brewers, if they want to win the division, they have to sweep the Brewers in one of those series.
Wow. Okay. Well,
It's hard to
you
it's
make
Yeah,
hard
you
to
it.
got to.
make up 6 games
Mhm.
or 7 games. It's hard to make up that many games in a short period. Time is running out to catch the Brewers and win the division. You don't catch them if you're 6 games behind a team for 2 months. You don't catch them unless you go head to head and beat up on them. And the Cubs have that chance to go head to head and beat up on them.
They do. They absolutely do. Now with the Reds, you figure you have to. Okay, that's 63-71. You have to take 2 out of 3 of that series. You have to.
Win the series. Win the
Yeah,
series. Yeah.
win the
A
series,
sweep
but
would be great, but you
mhm,
can't count on sweeps. Go ahead, just win the series.
just win the series. But you're saying they
You
have to
have to
go
sweep the.
4-0 versus the Brewers
No,
in the next
one of
series.
those series against
Yeah,
the Brewers, they need to sweep. They got to win both series against the Brewers, but one of those series they need to sweep the Brewers.
Okay, okay, Nick, what you got, man?
yeah, they have to take. Yeah, I'm with Brian. You have to. First of all, you're hyping up the Reds beating the Giants. That's like saying they beat my son's little league team. I mean, the Giants aren't very good. So let's keep it real here. And then the we have to beat the Reds 2 out of 3. But you have to. I'm with Brian. You have to either you have to take 6 out of 7 here from the Brewers. So either you
I
sweep
think I
them in
think
this four
five out
game
of five
series,
out of
which would be
seven, you got a chance to catch the Brewers.
Yeah,
yeah.
5 out of 7,
So
you
I
got a
think so
chance.
you have to either sweep the 3 game or win 4 out of 3 this one, right? Like, and I would prefer the sweep here in 4 game
Yeah,
set
4 game,
to
but you
really
just don't
put the
see four
pressure
game
on.
sweeps very often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully, but it'd be nice. I'm not saying it's going to happen. If we could get 3 out of 4, that would be the best. But if you split or you drop the series to the Brewers, just go ahead and write in 2026 NL champions to the Brewers on a check and tell them it's good. They can cash it.
Hmm. Well, let's see here because after the Brewers series, you travel to Miami in a winnable series, and then you go to Milwaukee. So it's one of those series, either the one you're hosting or the one after the Miami series. You got to sweep, and that was a 3 gamer. But now they still have a real chance. Let's check the standings here, as we have the Cubs are 6 games back. You figure if they do sweep Milwaukee, we might be seeing the Cubs in first in a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe, depending upon who Milwaukee plays. You know,
But the
but
Brewers also got everything to play for too, right? They're playing for the division and home field, like the number 1 seed. Just the other day, they're about a game ahead of the Dodgers or a half
they
game.
are
Like they're
they
real
have the best
close.
record in the majors.
And
Yeah.
they're still in play for getting a bye, also, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Right.
are.
Yeah. The number 1 seed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best team in
Mm-hmm.
baseball.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that'd be huge if the Cubs can get one off on them. But want to take it on to our next topic here, as our guy Brian McCray is going to get on his soapbox and talk about the Cubs home runs post All Star break. Take it away, Brian.
Well, home runs get your runs quickly, and the Cubs have done a good job of that since the All Star break. They are leading all of baseball, not just the American League. They're leading all of baseball in home runs since the break with 56. The next closest is 7 home runs away. So they're striking quick. They're doing it a lot, and they're doing it with the guys 1 through 9 in the lineup. Like I said before, you can have PCA, PA. He can do some things early, and then you have Kelly, who was hitting ninth, who has hit some big home runs, and then Conforto, who earlier in the year we didn't know if he was going to keep his spot in the lineup or not, even though his average is not that high. He's got 12 home runs. Bregman, since the All Star break, has had 10 home runs. So these guys are starting to get hot, and when they're getting hot, they're leaving the yard. And that's something to watch out to see if the Cubs can continue hitting home runs at this pace, because that gives them the chance to be very dangerous. You don't have to get a lot of hits, but if you can hit some bombs, you can score a lot of runs. And that's what they're
Hey,
doing. They're
I
scoring
mean,
runs in bunches because of the home run.
absolutely. I mean, look at the 19-2. They had 2 grand slams. You can't argue with 2 grand slams in one game.
Right.
So absolutely, you got to get Nick. You got something to you got something to add?
No, I just worry. You can't get too home run happy, right? And that's. I think that sometimes happens at times. Like everybody's looking for the home run. I sometimes I say even when the bases are low to give me like an RBI double sometimes over the grand slam, just because it keeps putting the pressure on, so it keeps moving the line forward. Sometimes when somebody hits like a 2-run, 3-run bomb, it kind of resets the pitcher. He already gave up the big one instead of continue to put pressure. So I hopefully we just don't continue like live and die by the long ball, but it does feel good to be hitting the home runs because it seems like everybody can kind of hit them right now a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see both sides of that one. But I mean, hey, if the Cubs put one over the wall, I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, a 3-run bomb, and the game was tied where you're up 3 runs. You know what I mean? You kind of figure that's pressure enough because if you're the guy that gave up the 3-run home run and it was 0-0, it's like, all right, I'm in a 3-0 deficit. You know what I mean? If they yank me right now and we lose the game, I take the L. Unless my team comes back and then I get a no contest.
And it's
Um,
it's the type of home runs that they're hitting that are demoralizing to their team. They're hitting. There've been a lot of 3-run home runs, some grand
yes.
slams, some walk-off home runs. Those are home runs that are like a knife in the back. They're
Yeah.
demoralizing.
Yeah.
They Solo home runs are just whatever. But when you get 3-run home runs, grand slams, walk-offs, those are ones that sting.
You know what? Okay, Botkins, I got a question for you because I see where Brian McCray was going with this because shout out to John Shear. He always says context matters. Sometimes it's when in the ball game that a home run
Amen
happens.
to that.
All right, so let me ask you a
Amen to
question.
that.
Let me ask you a question real quick there, Botkins. All right, 2016 World Series Game 7. Rajay Davis goes deep in the eighth to tie it. What were your feelings at the time?
I my feelings was like, so like it's wild because like I was like, hey, we didn't. I drove 8 hours to Chicago when he hit the home run, right? So I'm thinking like we didn't come this far to lose right here. I didn't think it was over. Like I mean, I was crushed, but I just like it was tied, so we're gonna be all right. Like that was my feelings.
Yeah, and of course, the
Everybody else,
Cubs.
like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
usually a pessimistic person, but I was optimistic at that point in time. I just it was just kind of I don't know. It was weird.
optimistic and Botkins doesn't go together in the same sentence. And if you all have been watching Cubfidential for the last three,
I,
4 seasons, you would know
the Cubs are
this.
the only. It's crazy. The Cubs are the only team I'm always pessimistic about because I just had my heart broken too many times.
Yeah, hey, as a Houston Texans fan, I get it. Hey, a real fan criticizes his team. I will be the first one to tell you. I love my Texans, but they're gonna put me in the hospital one day. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally
Amen.
get it. But we'll go on to our final topic, and in our final topic is a kind of a special cover dud here because I was trying to play scenarios here, and with that being said, so I had an idea that what if the Cubs drew a wild card, which the chances kind of favor that right now, right? What are the chances they draw? Because I'm looking at the National League standings. What are the chances that they could draw Atlanta in the first round? Barkins, what do you think?
I mean, I'd like our chances if we played Atlanta. I think we can kind of play with anybody. The Brewers and the Dodgers would be the toughest challenges I think for the Cubs in any series. I like our chances against anybody but those two teams.
Okay, then. And Brian, your thoughts? You think there's a likelihood that they draw Atlanta in the first round for as hot
I
as
think it's going
Atlanta's
to be
been?
Philadelphia. Either they're going to
Really?
be either,
Yeah,
either they're going to Philly or Philly's coming to Chicago.
Huh. Okay.
the
I mean,
Phillies are hot right now.
they are
They've
hot. So
won
you
they've won
had the
like eight
Phillies
nine
winning
in
the
a
NL
row.
East then,
Because right now is the Cubs are the 4 seed, the Phillies are the 5 seed, right?
right?
Yeah. So they'd be
Yeah,
playing each other.
Hmm.
The Cubs
Okay.
would be hosting.
Cubs would be hosting. Yeah, absolutely. Because Atlanta would be number 3,
Right. And I think the
and
Cubs have a 2-game lead over Philadelphia. So I think they're going to flip flop back and forth. So they're going to play. I don't think the Padres can catch either the Phillies or the Cubs. They're going to be that sixth spot if they
I do
get in
think the
there.
Phillies could catch the. I think the Phillies could catch the Braves. I don't know what's the standings there on the Phillies and Braves.
Philly is 4 back of Atlanta. Mind you, Philly
Yeah, it's
started out. They started out so bad they fired their manager, and then they've had a great season the rest of the way. But yeah, they're 4 back of the Braves.
yeah, they could easily catch the Braves. They're hot right now. They're playing good baseball at the right time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So you think it's going to be Philadelphia? Ooh, man.
I think it's going to be Philly and the Cubs. Some combination of that. Either Philly catches the Cubs and they're going to be the home team, or the Cubs keep this lead on them, and the three potential wild card games will be at Wrigley.
Yeah. Huh. Well, at least Schwarber will be facing his former team, right? But with that being said, that's all that we have for this evening. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Cubfidential. Shout out to who's this guy in the chat? He's been lighting it up. Yeah, shout out to I can't see his name. I can't see his name. I'll put his on the screen. There we go. Peanut Butter Posse. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Every Wednesday at about this time, be sure to join us for some Cup Talk. Everybody follow us on our website, sideline-se.com. Bockins, head kicks and haymakers tonight?
Yes, sir, in about 30-minute time frame.
All right, so yeah, go catch some head kicks and haymakers on YouTube. He's coming on in about 30 minutes. And so for Brian McCray and Bockins, I'm Denzel Snipes. Shout out to JB Ellis. We'll see him next week. See you all next week for more Cubs baseball. Later.
Thank you.